Good evening, everyone. My name is Dan Murphy. I'm the manager for marketing communications here with the Division of Pre-College and Undergraduate Programs. And we're excited to have you spend some time with us tonight to talk about our STEM and our course-based research experience courses. Um, I do want to highlight real quickly that tonight's session will focus exclusively on our STEM courses that are being offered through our Summer at Brown program, which is available for rising 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. So if you are here tonight thinking that we're going to speak about our STEM for rising 9th and 10th graders, I just want to let you know that we hosted that webinar a few weeks ago, and that recording is available on our homepage. And so we didn't want you to have to stick around just to find out that that's not what we're talking about. Again, tonight's session will talk most exclusively about our STEM courses for our Summer at Brown program. So a general overview for tonight's session, I'll provide a general overview of our Brown pre-college programs, like who are we, what are we? I'll introduce our panelists who are going to share with you some more information about our STEM and our course-based research experience courses, or CREs as we call them. And then we'll conclude with a Q&A. Tonight's session will last about 40 to 45 minutes and will be recorded. So we will send out this recording to you within the next week via email, and it will be available on our YouTube and our website. Closed captioning is available for you this evening. If you click on the little button that has two C's at the bottom of the screen, that will turn on closed captioning. And we will also have some QR codes available on some of our slides this evening that you can scan to take you to the relevant pages on our website for more information about what we're discussing at that moment. Questions. Ask all the questions you have this evening. That's really the point of these webinars, is for you to get to know more about us and to ask your questions. So please, as I'm presenting, as we're talking tonight, submit your questions using the Q&A chat function at the bottom of your screen. We do have a program advisor who's here with us, and they'll be answering some questions behind the scenes, but we'll also conclude with a live Q&A. But please don't hesitate to ask questions. And then I like to remind everyone that all the information we're going to go over this evening is available on our website at precollege.brown.edu. It's where you'll find our most up-to-date information, FAQs, and more. So let's dive in. What is Brown Pre-College? Who are we? What do we do? So each year we welcome more than 6,000 high school students from over 70 countries, and that includes across the United States, who choose to spend part of their summer with us. So that's whether that's here in Providence, at locations around the world, or online. These students explore over 300 courses. I believe I checked this morning, it was 325 now, that are intentionally crafted to reflect our undergraduate open curriculum here at Brown. The structure of our pre-college program reflects the freedoms and the responsibilities that are critically important parts of the college experience. So as a result, you'll balance the challenge of college-level academics with enriching social activities that are available whether you choose to study in person or online. Regardless of which program you are interested in, the first step in your pre-college experience is completing our application. Our application is designed to mirror the Common Application, which is used by most colleges and universities. So by completing our application, you're actually going to get hands-on experience with the Common App prior to actually needing to apply to college. And that includes adding transcripts and thinking through and crafting an essay based on a unique writing prompt. Our summer 2025 application is now open. It opened on January 15th, and the deadline for submitting an application is Friday, May 9th. And we always like to say, if you know this is what you are looking for, we always encourage you to apply sooner rather than later. You'll have the largest selection of courses available to you sooner rather than later. You can find your application checklist, which includes the essay prompts, the grade requirements, and anything else that you'll need to provide us with a complete application by clicking the Apply button at the top of our website. You'll also find on that page a video tutorial with step-by-step instructions on how to complete the application. So if you're like me, a visual learner, and just kind of want to see it before you get in there, that video is a great tool. Our admissions decisions are made on a rolling basis. So in most cases, an admissions decision is made within 15 business days of receiving a completed application. And then we like to remind everyone that in order to participate, students must enroll in a course after being admitted. So being admitted does not mean a student is necessarily enrolled into any particular course or academic program. So you will complete the application for Brown Pre-College as a whole. And then if you are admitted, you would then be able to go in and select a course if it's still available. So now that we've provided a general overview of our application process and timeline, let's transition to learning a little bit more about our STEM course offerings, including our course-based research experiences. So please welcome our guest, Abbey Aevazelis, who is the Associate Director of Pre-College Programs and the Director of STEM Programs, and Karen Haberstroh, who is the Associate Director of Engineering Programs with Brown Pre-College. Welcome, Abbey and Karen. I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Dan. We really appreciate that. And thank you so much for having us this evening. It's lovely to be here with everybody. And thank you to our students and our families who are participating on the call tonight. So my name is Abbey Aevazelis. I use she, her pronouns. And as Dan indicated, I'm the Associate Director of Pre-College Programs and the Director of STEM Programs. My focus is really not only on our STEM for Rising 9th and 10th graders program, but what we're here to talk about tonight, which are a bulk of the STEM courses within Summer at Brown and the course-based research experiences. And I'm really pleased to be able to turn this over to my colleague, Karen, to introduce herself. We work very closely collectively on the STEM classes. Karen?
Thank you so much, Abbey, and thank you, Dan, for the nice introduction. And as Abbey said, I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining the webinar tonight. I am the Associate Director of Engineering Programs with Brown Pre-College. I also do oversee, in addition to the engineering courses, I oversee technology and math courses as well within Summer at Brown. So those include both on-campus and online courses. And I did also just want to mention that for many years now, I have actually taught one of our online courses in the summer as well. So I teach one of the online courses that takes place in the area of material science and engineering. And I'm happy to talk about that experience. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat. So I am going to spend a little bit of time talking about how the pre-college courses mirror courses in the Brown undergraduate sort of curriculum, and especially thinking about the open curriculum that's present at Brown. So you may have heard of the open curriculum before. This refers to the fact that Brown students actually don't have a set of general education requirements, much like you probably see at a lot of other universities across the country. So during their undergraduate degree and before graduation, students really have a lot of freedom and flexibility to choose a personalized course of study that works for them. They choose what they want to study, they have the flexibility to discover what they love, and they have lots of time to decide what they want their ultimate concentration, which is what we call a major at Brown, what they want that concentration to be. Brown also values and really encourages students to take advantage of the breadth and depth of course offerings. So just as an example, our engineering undergraduate students are encouraged to take courses, and in fact, they're asked to take courses as part of their degree requirements in economics, art history, other types of social science and humanities disciplines. And so they're not just focused in engineering, they're not just focused in STEM, they're actually taking advantage of the wide range of courses that are present at Brown broadly. And the exciting thing is that they're taking these classes with world-renowned experts in the fields. So this is something that I know the Brown students really love and take advantage of while they're here. The courses at Brown for the undergraduate students are also really interdisciplinary, and they often tie in with graduate and faculty research. And finally, and I would say especially in STEM courses at Brown, there is a lot of emphasis on project-based and also group learning. So for example, in the engineering undergraduate courses, from the very first semester when students are here, they're taking part in 3 large design projects that they work on in groups, and there's a lot of kind of hands-on work, they're in a shop, and so on. So in a very similar way, our pre-college course offerings also exist over a wide range of topical areas. Many of those, much like in the undergraduate realm, many of those actually do cross disciplines. And we encourage students to take advantage of the course offerings that we have and really explore all of those offerings and find a course that really speaks to them. Our courses are taught by graduate students and faculty who are leaders in their fields, and they're really passionate about sharing their own content knowledge with you as a student. The pre-college courses focus on exposure to a subject area and not necessarily on mastery, but they're still very rigorous and they encourage independent thinking and learning, much like would happen in an undergraduate course as well. So in this way, they really will help to prepare you for a college environment and college learning. And the last thing that I just want to mention is that our courses that are offered through Summer at Brown are non-credit bearing, and students receive a certificate of completion if they successfully pass that course.
Thanks, Karen. So if I was sitting on the call thinking about this, I might ask, well, with so many STEM courses, what should I consider when I'm looking at our catalog? And so I think the first thing you want to do is navigate the actual course catalog, and you can find that at precollege.brown.edu. You can look at the courses tab. If you click directly on the courses tab, it will enter into our catalog. And while you're doing this, you want to think through what type of program or course you want to engage in over the summer. If you're most interested in being on campus and you meet the age and grade level requirements, you can select the Summer at Brown as your program type. And you can see programs as a filter on the left-hand side. If you want to see all the Brown pre-college programs, keep the program filter type open so you get the most variety. To help narrow the options, you can filter by subject area, date, and length of course, as well as format. So if you're interested in online courses, you want to make sure that you have the online course filter selected. If you try a search, you can use the search key bar to do this. If you find the search is too large or too narrow, just adjust your filters accordingly. So if you try keyword search in the search bar, you'll get various results. For example, engineering will return 17 courses. Climate change returns 12. Science policy gives you 2, and science gives you 76 options. So play around with words that are important to you and see what comes up. Again, if you find it's too vast or too narrow, just adjust your selection criteria. And then in selecting a course, really think, what are you most excited about studying? What are you passionate about? And how do you feel the information you learn will help you grow or even change the world? Because you're the next generation who's going to be doing that. You want to consider the type of experience. Are you looking for a hands-on or seminar-style class? Do you want to be in a laboratory or a workshop environment? Do you want to conduct research? Would you like to be out on the water actually collecting fish? Right? So as our courses are interdisciplinary, you can stretch your learning or understanding of what you enjoy, and if you're interested in pursuing, by being open to new content. So you want to think, what am I most excited about? What do I want to learn? Do I want to do a final product or a presentation? And then if the courses that you are most interested in don't seem to be open, for example, if those courses have filled up already, I want you to think adjacent to the original course, right? So don't limit yourself by sitting on a wait list. Actually think about a second or third choice that you're just as excited about. And with over 270 courses in the Summer Brown catalog, you have many wonderful options to choose from. And if you have questions about specific courses, our wonderful team of program advisors, one who's here with us tonight answering your questions live, can help you navigate the catalog and even narrow down options. And one thing that's really important is to make sure you pay attention to the prerequisites that are listed on the course. We want you to have a successful experience. So one way to do that is to make sure the class you choose is a good fit for your interests and your prior knowledge. If the class is asking you to have a specific math background and you've never taken that level of math before, I would encourage you to consider looking at a different course that's similar or adjacent, but maybe is more open for novice or beginner students in that subject area.
So Abby just talked about the process of choosing a course from the catalog. That course might be, as Abby mentioned, based on those filters that you can use. It might be on campus or it might be online. I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes about some hallmarks of the on-campus experience. So specifically, what do the students do when they're in an on-campus class? And more specifically, what I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about is what do students do when they are not in class? So of course, when you're on campus, you'll spend a significant amount of time in your class each day. engaging and learning the content that you choose with your instructor and also the other students that are in your class or your peers. You'll also, of course, be eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner often with those same classmates, sometimes with other friends that you might meet in your residence hall or just sitting on the green. And those students will often be from all over the world, which is a really great opportunity to learn more about other places and other cultures. Outside of class time can also be used for things like office hours, homework. You can often meet with your class groups. You might have some work that you need to do outside of class, and reading as well. So as I just mentioned, you might be doing some work outside of class with a group. You can expect to have about 2 to 3 hours of homework per night, some of which might be work that's actually building towards a final class project. Note that some of our Summer at Brown classes include final projects and some don't. So if you know that you want a project-based class and a class that includes a final project, you should pay attention to that in the course description as you're doing your searching through the catalog, as Abby just described. Outside of the academic work, there are a range of extracurricular activities that are planned by the student life team. These happen at all hours of the day, so it doesn't matter when during the day you take a class, as there will be extracurriculars for students to choose from throughout the day, regardless of when your class meets. Some events, some of those extracurriculars are tied to the academic experience. So there might be a career panel, for example, or a lab tour. And some events will cover things like college success, identity workshops, other things to help get you ready for the college experience. And then finally, and very importantly, there are fun activities like trips to the beach and also outdoor movies. And you'll have time to even sit on the green. There are many beautiful greens on Brown's campus. You can sit, you can relax with your friends. You might play Frisbee. This is something that the students often really look forward to during their time at Brown. A really important point with all of these events is that the students are not required to do anything. Besides go to your class and do your homework, the rest of your time is really your time. And so you're going to choose what you do with that time. And a theme that you might be picking up on here is that students get out of the experience what they put into the experience. Finally, I did want to mention that you'll have required floor meetings in the evenings. And during that time, you'll check in with your RA for curfew. You'll often learn strategies for success in a living and learning environment. And students are required to remain in the residence halls overnight for safety. So you might also be curious to know what a STEM course looks like in the online space, and how does the student engage with their class and with the material. So I mentioned that I teach an online course myself, and so I can kind of describe my own experience and how it blends in with other courses as well. So I want to start off by saying that all of our online classes range from 2 to 6 weeks in length, and they're offered in 3 different modalities. So you can choose to take a class which is called asynchronous, mostly asynchronous, or blended. And while all of these classes will give you the chance to engage daily with your instructor, you should really think about and consider which of these modalities are best suited to you when you choose a class. So if you're looking for a lot of independence and you want the ability to really customize your day-to-day schedule, you should choose an asynchronous class. If you're looking for primarily asynchronous content, but you do want to make sure that you have opportunities to attend optional live sessions with your instructor each week, you should choose a mostly asynchronous class. And finally, if you want a course that requires live sessions attended by all of the students each week, so these are required live sessions, and this will give you the most real-time instructor and student engagement, you should choose the blended option. So you want to make sure that you pay close attention to that when you're looking through the course catalog, specifically under the online course offerings. Regardless of the modality of the course that you choose in the online space, the expectation for the course load is going to be about 15 hours per week, or 2 to 3 hours per day. During that time, you'll work closely with your instructor and likely a TA that's been assigned to your class as well. There will be office hours and independent reading material, and also assignments, discussions, and even group work in the online space that will allow you to interact with and meet your peers or other students who are taking the class who also come from all over the world, just like if you were taking an on-campus class. Our online classes in the STEM fields, I think, are also very unique in that many of them involve hands-on projects and experiments. So for example, my material science class does have hands-on experiments that you'll do at home, using materials that you have around your house or materials that are easily accessible to you. So this is a great opportunity to, in an online environment, be able to study wherever you are, wherever you're from, but still get that project-based hands-on experience, much like you would in an on-campus class as well. And just like I talked about before with the on-campus classes, an important note for our online classes is that you'll get as much out of the class and the experience as you put into it. So if you choose to engage comprehensively, that will set the tone in the class for both you and also for the other students in the class, and you'll have a really rich experience. Finally, if you choose to take an online class, I do want to encourage you to reach out to your instructor and to get to know them better. Even if you're taking an asynchronous class, when there are not required live sessions, it's a great opportunity for you to actually meet that instructor and to build relationships. So do things like go to office hours, talk to them about your research, about their research. Ask for additional resources related to the course content or maybe other things in a tangential field that you have interest in. This is a really great chance for you to network and to make long connections, long-lasting connections that will help you far beyond the course that you're taking.
So whether you choose an online or an on-campus class, one of the things we're very proud about is the focus of hands-on work in our STEM courses. Our current course catalog highlights many STEM classes with elements of lab experiences, projects, or design activities built in. So for example, courses with laboratory work allow students to gain experience conducting experiments and gaining exposure to lab methods. In these inquiry-based courses, students model the scientific process through experiments and projects that are predetermined by the instructor. There are also courses in the physical sciences or computer science that allow you to design experiments, create code, explore the use of AI, and use software such as MATLAB or CAD to design and possibly build. And for courses in engineering, you might also physically build an engineering prototype using recyclable materials or even equipment like a laser cutter or a 3D printer. Now, for students who are specifically looking to conduct independent research projects, we have an additional suite of offerings in Summer Brown courses that are titled Course-Based Research Experiences, or CREEs. So this is important to note. CREEs are open for students who are 16 plus and can dedicate their summer to a research experience. So for some students, this might be the start of a more advanced science fair or competition entry, or useful for a college application portfolio. Some CREE students from summer 2024 programs are actively engaged with a high school research journal to publish the results of their research. So CREEs allow students to take a deep dive into a particular area of interest, work closely with an instructor to design and conduct independent work, and then present their findings at the end of the class. So for the CREEs, I want you also to know that prior research experience is not required. However, you should have a solid understanding of the scientific method and review the individual CREE prerequisites to ensure you've taken the basic requirements first. It's also just as important to have a passion for STEM, a strong work ethic, the ability to be resilient and adapt to change, and a desire to engage in a unique and rewarding research experience over the summer. Now, we have CREE offerings in both the on-campus and the online space. In the online space, our cancer biology CREE falls into the blended modality that my colleague Karen discussed a moment ago. On campus, we have 6 CREE courses that fall into a hybrid model where you spend the first 2 weeks online, again in that blended format, and then you'll come to campus for 3 weeks to conduct the research, the rest of your research project, alongside the peers that you've already met and have been working with online. So remember, to see the full list of the 7 research offerings, click on the Course-Based Research Experiences filter on the left of our catalog. Now, I did mention that you will be able to share your research. And so one of the most important things you're going to learn to do as a scientist or a researcher is to communicate and share your findings with others. The CRE courses include a research symposium on the final Thursday of the program. This symposium is designed to mirror a poster session at a scientific conference. Each student researcher will be asked to design a digital poster for display during the session. And if you are one of our researchers, you should be prepared with a short presentation, sometimes called a lightning talk or an elevator pitch. And you'll have about 30 minutes with your poster to share your work as the audience moves through the session, interacting with you and asking questions. And all CRE students, their instructors, and other interested parties are invited to the CRE Symposium to learn about the exciting work that's taken place in the CRE courses. So this is a great opportunity for students to highlight in the future that they have participated in a formal scientific conference experience.
We're going to transition now to answering any questions that you have. So again, feel free to submit them using the Q&A chat function below. And we'll try to answer as many questions as we can. We did get some questions ahead of time. Abby, a little bit going off of CREs. Are CREs part of all STEM opportunities? And if so, what determines your assigned CRE?
Thanks, Dan. So that's a good question. The only CRE courses that we have, so these course-based research experiences, are the 7 that are going to be listed specifically in the course catalog. So remember, 1 online and 6 that are happening in that hybrid model with 2 weeks online and 3 weeks on campus. The other courses that we have a lot of STEM courses that are lab-based that might be covering similar or related concepts if you're really interested in biology or biotechnology or nanotech. Some of the things that the CREs cover, we have STEM-based courses in Summer at Brown that also cover that material or similar material. The big difference is in the CREs, you are doing your own independent research, and it is that 5-week-long program. For our Summer at Brown STEM classes, courses can be 1 week, 2 week, or 3 weeks long. And in those classes, if you're doing experiments or a lab-based project, what you're typically doing is work that your instructor knows the answer to, and you are going through the process of learning the equipment, learning the material, learning the concepts, and then demonstrating your ability to do that work to replicate the project itself.
Karen, this one might be for you, but could you talk just a little bit about what specific lab techniques do students learn, potentially across like the different courses that we offer?
Yeah, that's a great question, Dan. I think one thing that's really important to mention up front is that the specific lab and/or project, I'll say, techniques that you will work with really depend upon the specific class that you choose to take. And so you can very often get a really good sense of that if you not just read the short description that's on the forward face of the course catalog, but if you actually click into that specific course and read the more expanded description, the course description, you'll often see some of those tools and techniques that you'll have the experience working with when you're here during the summer. So I did mention already that, honestly, even in our online classes, you'll have the chance to do different types of hands-on experiments. Just as an example, in the material science class that I teach, I did mention students do hands-on work at home. One of the things that I have them do is actually testing the mechanical properties of materials at home with different types of samples like scraps of wood and, could even be a ruler, for example. But I walk the students through the exercise of actually setting up an at-home experiment to actually test the properties of those different materials. If you're on campus, the types of things that you do, again, really, really vary by class. And so you do want to pay special attention to those course descriptions. But just to give you a couple examples, you might actually do gel electrophoresis, for example, if you're taking more of a bio DNA type lab, RNA type lab. You might actually be working, if you're doing more of an engineering type course, you might be working with different tools like laser cutters or 3D printers. You may be working with online tools like CAD, for example. So it really, really varies. And as I mentioned, this is where you're going to want to pay special attention to what's actually in that course description, as it'll give you a good sense of the types of tools and techniques that you'll be exposed to.
Great, thank you. Let's see. We're getting some good questions coming in. Abby, I have two Cree questions for you. First one is there a separate application for the Cree courses?
So there is not a separate application. The important thing to note, I did reference earlier that you had to be 16 plus, and that's by the start of the on-campus portion of the hybrid experience. So what will happen is that if your birth date doesn't fall into that category, you will likely not see the Cree courses in your student portal. So once you've applied, if you're accepted and you go to look at the courses you're eligible for, if you are currently 14 or 15 years old, the Cree courses likely will not show up as accessible for you to be able to enroll in. If you are 16, if your birthday matches, or 17, then you'll see those Cree courses as something that you're eligible for. If your birth date is very close to the summer and you have specific questions, please feel free to reach out to a program advising team and they can help guide you a little bit further.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the next question is, does the campus life experience differ for Cree students? Maybe could you talk a little bit about like what is campus life like online, because it's part of it's online for some of them and on campus?
Sure. So I think the campus life experience really, again, I love what my colleague Karen has said. You get out of it what you put into it. So in the online space, if you're taking an online class, whether it is the Cree course, the blended fully online course, whether it's the hybrid model where you come to campus, or if you're taking, any online class, there are opportunities for you to connect through our student life programming and through workshops that they have and connections that they offer. There's opportunities for you to connect and collaborate with students from around the world through the online space. So we fully encourage you to take advantage of as many of those as you can. Once you get to campus, likewise, there's lots of opportunities in the co-curricular space. Our student life team works out a robust set of offerings for folks to take advantage of. With that being said, you are working on your own independent research projects, and it will be a lot of work, but that's something that's super exciting. And if you're motivated to do research, this is something that would actually drive you to be really excited and to want to learn more. So yes, you will still have an opportunity to do as much as you want to with the student life team, with the co-curricular space. And you'll also find that if you're taking a Cree class, you'll definitely have the 2 to 3 hours of out of class work, but you might find yourself wanting to put in even more time than that in the academics because you're looking to get as far as you can with your finalized research project before you have to present it to your peers and instructors at your Cree symposium. So the opportunity is there. Like Karen said, there's workshops, there's evening events, social events, there's dances, there's lots and lots and lots of things. And as a pre-college student, much like a college student, what you're going to want to do is prioritize your time, balance your responsibilities with your interests, and figure out what you're most excited to do and find a way in space and time to be able to fit it in.
Another Cree question, but I'm also going to open this up to Karen. I'm going to broaden the question a little bit too. But I'll start with a specific question, which is, can Cree courses be taken concurrently with other pre-college programs or classes? And they give the example of a Bell course. So I'll leave that for you, Abby, but then I'm gonna broaden that after your answer to Karen, because I think this is another common question we get is, can students take more than one course in the summer at the same time, or just in the summer in general? So we'll start with you, Abby.
Sure. So in terms of being able to take a Cree and another class, I would highly advise against it. Really, if you are interested in doing research, you are looking to get as much out of this research experience as you possibly can. Your time, attention, and focus should be on the Cree course. In addition to that, trying to take a Cree class or any other class while enrolled in a Bell program, likewise, your attention and time and focus should be in that immersive, amazing educational experience that is a Bell program. So I would advocate against taking multiple courses in that capacity. So
yeah, and I'm happy to talk a little bit more generally about taking two classes. And this really echoes what Abby just said, to be perfectly honest. We do have students every summer that choose to take two classes. What I will say is that I think it's a lot. So if you just add up the number of hours that you're sitting in a class, if you choose to take 2 classes, that's going to be 6 hours a day just sitting in the class. And then in addition to that, as we already mentioned, each class is going to have 2 to 3 hours of homework per day. So you're talking about sitting in class for 6 hours a day and then doing another 4 to 6 hours of homework a day. I personally feel like you really be missing out on a lot of the other amazing opportunities that make that college experience and make coming to campus come alive. So honestly, things like sitting on the main green with your friends and chit-chatting and learning about what it's like in a different part of the world. Attending a panel discussion about possible career choices for you later on. Going to a workshop where you can learn about how to put together the best college application and the best college essay. These are all things you're going to have to start making really difficult choices about where your time is going if you're spending, again, like 12 hours a day between your class and homework. There's just not that many hours in the day left. And so I do think, while we have students that choose to do it and it is possible to do it, I do think that you're really missing out on a lot of the other amazing opportunities that take place when you're in a really immersive on-campus experience like the one that we offer.
Yeah, and I would echo that. I think that's an important piece of the program in college in general, is that out of classroom experience as well.
Yeah.
Oftentimes that's where you learn a lot more too. I will say the one thing I will add to that is I do think for many students that I've seen who do want to take more than one course, it's usually not at the same time. It's usually like, here's a 1-week course I'm going to take, and I'm going to do a course the next week in a 1-week session or a 2-week session. So
yeah, that's a great point, Dan. We have students that stay at Brown for the entirety of our summer offerings. And as you said, they don't take 2 classes concurrently. They take 2 classes back to back. So they might take one class that's 2 weeks long, followed by a class that's 3 weeks long, and they stay at Brown for the entire summer. So, so that's definitely, I would advocate for that route if you really want to be able to tap into more than one course while you're on campus.
Yeah, nice. Abby, this one's for you. Lots of career questions this evening. Someone is just asking about, if someone takes a CRE class, could they list that course as a research activity when applying for colleges? Any insights on that?
I would say absolutely. Not only can they list the course as a research opportunity, they can list their own poster presentation and their own independent research that they did. And as I indicated, we have had students in the past who have gone through the process after the program is over, and they are independently going through the process of submitting to a high school research journal. So there are opportunities for students really to continue the research, take it as far as they want to. If there's a robust science fair within your school or district, if there is a regional or a state opportunity that you're interested in presenting your own research at. So you can really take what you start. It is a limited time, right? 5 weeks is enough for you to be able to do the work for the specific topics that our CRE courses cover. But if you want to take it, extend it, you want to replicate, that's part of science, you want to replicate, retest, verify your hypothesis, you more opportunities, you can you definitely do that, as depending on what opportunities exist for you outside of the program. And yes, you will have done your own independent research.
Great. Karen, this one might be for you or Abby, but I'll throw it to Karen first. Just someone wondering about like instructor to student ratio for these courses. So I guess maybe like how many students roughly are in a course? And then given that STEM sometimes has TAs, lab assistants, things like that, how many instructors or staff are usually in a room?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the STEM courses, I would say as a general rule, this is not 100% across the board, but as a general rule, I would say our STEM courses are about 18 students. We do have some courses that are 24 students as well. It often depends on the specific content and the space that's available for that class. What we try to do is to make sure that within a course of 18 and certainly 24 students, that there is at least one additional body in the room. And so you'll have, and to be honest, this is really important because if you're doing project-based work, or if you're doing laboratory-based work, which the majority of our classes are, you do want to make sure that you have the opportunity and your group has the opportunity to be constantly engaging and getting your questions answered. And if you don't have more than one human in the room, one instructor in the room, it's just really hard to do that. So if we have a class of 18 students, there's often 2 people in the room, one TA who, again, is often a graduate student or an advanced undergraduate, and then also the instructor. And they'll both be floating around the room, interacting with the groups, answering questions, and helping them make progress.
Great, thank you. I'm going to throw this next one to Abby or Karen, and I'm asking it knowing we might not be able to answer it, but a lot of questions coming up about housing. Specifically, are people housed with other CRE students? Like, so like, are CRE students housed together? Are STEM students housed together? Any insights on that?
Yes, I do have some insights on that. One of the things that's probably percolating through people's minds is, can I pick my roommate? So that is the first thing that I want to address, is that no, you cannot. There are no roommate requests that are accepted. You will be randomly assigned to a roommate, typically who's within 1 year of your age, the same gender identity. And then beyond that, students are typically housed in res halls for that house students who are on campus for the same length of time. So what I mean by that is, if you are in a 3-week class, you will be in a residence hall that will also be full of students in 3-week classes. So yes, could the CRE students that are in your class be in that res hall? More than likely. But could they be in another 3-week res hall? Absolutely. And in your residence hall, could you have students taking economics, creative writing and poetry, photography, history, philosophy, engineering? Yes. So if you're in a 1-week or a 2-week or a 3-week class, like I said, you're typically housed with folks who are on campus for the same length of time.
Great. I think it's the joy of college, honestly, and how it mirrors the college experience, is that you're usually not roomed with someone who is, taking the same courses as you. And I was not a STEM major, but I will tell you, all my friends were chemical engineers. I learned so much about MATLAB, which you mentioned earlier today, over my 4 years with my friends on my residence hall. So I want to be mindful of time. Oh, were you gonna
sorry,
say?
Dan, yes, I just wanted to add one other thing I forgot to mention, is that in the res hall, even though it's going to be based on the length of time that you're on campus, don't forget Summer Brown is open to students who are 14 through 18 years old. So you will have a variety of students of different ages within the entire res hall with you. But again, typically you are housed with somebody who's within 1 year of your own age as a roommate.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So I just want to be mindful of time. Upcoming information sessions. In 2 weeks, we'll have our humanities and social sciences courses. So if you're interested in STEM, but also thinking maybe I want to balance that out with humanities and social sciences, come learn about our courses then. And then we'll have a parent and guardian information session on March 6th. This is great for anyone whose child is applying and or has been admitted and is enrolled, just to kind of get more information about what to expect as a parent or guardian of a pre-college student. And then, we try to answer as many questions as we possibly could today. If there's any outstanding questions that we couldn't get to, or any come to you after today's information session, please don't hesitate to email us at precollege@brown.edu or give us a call. I say this every webinar, so I apologize if you've seen me on another webinar, but our program advisors are wonderful. We have 5 of them. They are the encyclopedias of our division. They really can help guide you and help you with any questions that you have, and can even help you with, I'm interested in A, B, and C, what are some course offerings that you think might fit for me? Or I'm stuck between these 3 courses. Which one, like, help me like talk through like which one I should choose. So definitely reach out to us. And then also, if you're not, follow us on social media at Brown Pre-College. We like to highlight a lot of student footage and videos from the summer. We have a lot of day in the life content, including some day in the lives of students in STEM courses. So definitely check that out if you are not following us yet. So thank you, Abby. Thank you, Karen, for taking time to be with us this evening. And thank you, everyone on the other side of the screen who's watching and listening, again, for taking some time out of your busy schedules to be with us this evening. So thank you, and don't hesitate to reach out with questions.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you,
for
everyone.
having us.